Hurt people hurt people.
If you're hurting people, shame on you. I'm your host, Eric Brown, and with me, Mr. Mike Jones is in the house. What's up, man?
Hey, man, what's going on? Man? This is a powerful message.
For
today.
sure,
I
yeah.
sure hope that you are prepared to listen with the intent to be influenced, because this is a message that I absolutely guarantee you will benefit everyone who takes a moment to listen to this pod blast. Question for you: have you ever made a really bad mistake or a poor choice, and once you realized that you had made that poor choice or mistake, you turn inward and you begin beating yourself up? You know, very likely all of us have experienced that in our life. Very likely the first emotion that you experienced when you went inward and began beating yourself up was guilt. I believe that this stage of guilt can be healthy because it is an acknowledgement to yourself that you did something wrong, that you made a poor choice, that you may have hurt someone. And I know that quite often when we do that, we believe that I'm sorry is going to fix it. So we just go to people after we've made these bad choices and done things to hurt them, and we say, I'm sorry. But I absolutely believe that the best I'm sorry in the universe is when we make the choice to change our hurtful behavior and make better choices. However, if you get stuck in guilt, you very likely are going to experience shame.
So, Mike, I got to back up on this because I always thought I'm sorry fixed the poor choice that I made.
Clearly, it does not, Eric. I can think of a whole lot of things that I have done, and very likely you have done, and our listeners have done, that we went and said, I'm sorry after we made a poor choice. And let me be clear about this. I know a lot of times when we talk about things like this, people say, you know what, I made a mistake. No, you didn't. You made a poor choice. It was not a mistake. It was probably a bad judgment, but it was not a mistake, because quite often these behaviors, these attitudes, these things that we do are very conscious things, which means that if it is a conscious choice, then I had an opportunity to do or not to do, and I chose to do. And that is what created the hurt or the pain. Now, I want to talk about shame just a little bit, y'all, because when guilt turns to shame, it absolutely changes the trajectory that we're on. Shame will alter your trajectory. Shame will determine your internal conversation and your perspective of everything. Shame will determine how you play the game every day. Now, there are those who will judge you when they learn of your mistake or your poor choice, and that hurt cause others will absolutely uh, uh, fuel that shame. And they will say, shame on you for having made that mistake. Shame on you for the hurt that you caused. I say, shame off you. Now, I realize that that may be hard to grasp or understand, but let me clear it up for you. The person that was affected by the hurt, the poor choice that you made, they also may be experiencing shame. Some will say shame on you or shame on them. I say shame off you. For years, I personally had a issue making a commitment to an intimate relationship. And that the reason that I realized that I was having that issue was because of past pain, a past hurt, a poor choice that somebody made in a relationship that I was in. I did not realize how big that wall was or how much shame I felt from that particular situation. Hurt people, y'all, hurt people. Because I was hurt, that hurt translated to a whole lot of other hurt in relationships that I refuse to go all in the relationship. I refuse to give my all. I refuse to be vulnerable. I refuse to allow somebody else close enough that that hurt could occur again. So I absolutely hurt other people based upon the hurt that had been given to me or done to me. And as a result of that shame that I felt, I absolutely hurt other people. Now, I'm truly asking that you listen with the intent to be influenced here, because this will likely provide you with some measure of freedom. Your altered course, created by shame, is not set in stone. I got to say that again, y'all. It is absolutely not set in stone. Shame may have changed your trajectory. However, it does not have to continue to determine your future reality. In your relationships, with your team members at work, with your mom or your dad, whatever happened, happened. Your shame may have been created by you betraying someone or being betrayed by someone. Your shame may be the result of physical abuse. Your shame may be created by sexual abuse or an addiction. Shame and fear will attack your identity and your ability to live a happy, healthy life. So I encourage you to identify if shame is driving you. And if it is, your pain is likely creating more pain. Get that shame off you. Did you hear me? Absolutely, I said it. Get that shame off of you, because it's never going to benefit you. Forgive yourself and forgive them. The bad choice you made or experience that you had was not a life sentence.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that some level of guilt is okay because it says, hey, I made a mistake. I want to get this back on track. But leave the shame. We don't need the shame.
I would absolutely agree with that, Eric. If I am feeling some measure of guilt, it means that I am admitting to myself that I made a bad choice or that I did something that hurt somebody.
Okay.
That's where the guilt is. So the guilt can be a positive actuator to allow me to change my behavior. It is providing me with feed forward that says that something needs to change about the way that I'm being with somebody or the way that I'm treating somebody. So if you are experiencing guilt, absolutely realize in that moment that that is feed forward to you to change your behavior.
Got it. So guilt says, I made a mistake, and shame says, I am the mistake.
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. So there's a difference between I made a mistake and I am the mistake.
Got it.
I am not the mistake. I made a mistake. And again, Eric, I don't even like calling it a mistake. I know that.
Yeah, because it's a choice.
Frequently, yes.
Yeah.
It was a conscious choice. It was not a mistake. It was a bad choice. It was poor judgment. But if it was a mistake, it would mean that I likely didn't have any level of consciousness about it.
Okay, so I could reframe it and say, I made a bad choice. That's guilt. And then shame would be, I am the bad choice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that that is the proper frame to put around it, which allows us to accept 100% personal responsibility when guilt shows up, because we realize in that moment that whatever I did or whatever I said was absolutely hurtful and that I need to change my behavior. I need to change my trajectory so that I can absolutely get on track and treat people the way they want to be treated.
Okay, and you mentioned that there may be some people out there that judge you during this. What would you say about that? I mean,
I would absolutely say that you have got to become independent of the opinions of others, because others are going to have opinions of you no matter what choices you are making. However, if they are putting shame on you based upon bad choices that you made, I would say shame off you. Do not give them permission to put that shame on you. When you change your behavior, rather than saying, I'm sorry, then you can absolutely take a step forward and move on. So not shame on you, shame off you.
I love it. Shame off you at the edge.
Absolutely, man. And if you're not living your life on the edge, you know it, baby. You're taking up far too much room.
Here we go now.